It's just gone absolutely crazy for XRP here, ladies and gents. It's sitting at $2.74 right now, so close to that critical $3 mark, and of course that all-time high up at $3.50. And that's not the best thing on this chart. The best thing on this chart, I didn't even think it would happen this quickly, so I put my hands up. I was completely wrong about this. It is XRP against Bitcoin. It has completely blown through all of its resistance levels on this chart, really. It's got a couple more. It's got resistance right here where it's at right now, but it's not significant enough for me to be worried about. So we're going to be diving into where the thing could be going, how high XRP could be continuing to rise from here, what problems are going to happen, because there are going to be a lot of problems on the path for XRP holders right now, and of course how this relates to the wider crypto market. And I've got to let you guys know, obviously, I'm all about making the money, right? You guys know the deal. I'll make fun out of XRP army holders all the time. I told them that their token's very, very memeable right now, and they just got upset about me calling it a meme coin. Typical, extremely low levels of comprehension for XRP holders. But here's the deal, guys. I don't care about what I trade as long as it's making me money, right? Like, regardless of the fact that I think that XRP is a total shitcoin, I think it's phenomenal to make money out of. In fact, right now, it's clearly the best place to be making money out of, and I'm no stranger to that, right? Here's a look at my Bybit account right here with my active trades, where you got 3,500% on Bitcoin, and what is this, 1,800% now on TRX. That's very, very cool. That's doing super well. And, you know, just to show you, because some XRP holders also think that because they're bad traders, I have to be a bad trader too. But no, this is all, you know, a real interface, you know, on Bybit. This is like the actual Bybit app. So hopefully that settles concerns. And, you know, now to bring it back to what we're looking at here, if you want to be trading these markets, whether it's XRP or anything else, you're going to get a ton of free cash when you start signing up and trading using these links down below. So check them out if you're interested in getting free cash. Any money that you make with the free cash they give you, you're going to be able to withdraw those profits. So that's really cool. Check them out if you're not from a restricted region. But bringing it back to the market here, first of all, let's look at XRP on this short-term time frame, because this is, I think, what's really important and interesting. First of all, you know, everyone's like talking about just buy the first pullback, but you ain't getting pullbacks on XRP right now, ladies and gents. We're on the hourly time frame, so things look a little bit more stretched out than they actually are. But if we look at this on the daily time frame, which I would say is a more fair representation of what's been happening, there have been no pullbacks for XRP, right, since it pretty much started to rally off the 50-cent level. It's now up by 480%. It's taken about 1 month, so that's a 6 times gain in 1 month. It is absolutely astronomical, and honestly, if you've been holding for 7 years, then hats off to you. You've done very, very well. You've obviously done horribly compared to the rest of the market. That fact is still true. You might try to deny it, but it's still absolutely unequivocally true. But the other thing that absolutely nobody even talks about right now is that XRP, adjusted for inflation, is doing so much worse than it looks right now, right? If we take a look at XRP by market cap, it's actually already at an all-time high, and it's been at an all-time high for a little bit longer than people probably think right now. It's sitting at $156 billion market cap, which previously its all-time high was up here at about $128 billion. So we're sitting a comfortable $25 billion above the previous all-time high by market cap for XRP. And the reason that this is even happening, the reason that XRP is already at all-time highs by market cap, is because there has been a lot of inflation, right? XRP tokens get printed and they enter the supply, and that's how you get, you know, ridiculous valuations of this coin. And that's one of the reasons I keep calling it a shit coin, right? It's just that it can be printed at any, it's just so highly manipulated. It can be moved around by big holders and just completely manipulated from top to bottom, and it has been. That's why it's pumping right now, I think. And that's going to keep on happening in the future, right? So this in and of itself is not a problem, right? Bitcoin has the same problem. Ethereum has the same problem. Stock markets have the same problem. But it's more of a problem on XRP because it's so severe, right? It just happens so quickly that if you're in, brilliant. But when it starts dumping, because it always does start dumping, it doesn't stick around for long, right? That drop is usually really, really quick. And that's the number one thing I'm saying, is that if you're in XRP and you're making money off it, then more power to you, right? You're making a hell of a lot of money off XRP than I am right now, because I don't hold any. So, you know, you've done incredibly well, and hats off to you. I'm not going to piss on anybody making money, ladies and gents. It's absolutely fantastic. But you just got to make sure that as you're exiting or as you're getting ready to take profits, that you're not getting wrapped up and marrying the fucking coin, marrying the sentiment, and getting tied up with everybody else. Because, you know, just looking at the numbers, it's already reached its all-time high. And if this changes the way that you view XRP, then good, you have a bit of common sense. And if it doesn't change the way that you view XRP, even just a little bit, then you might be completely fanatical and probably one of the losing traders in the market. So, you know, it's all about maintaining realism, right? We can make a lot of money off a coin, but we don't have to start loving it and treating it like a second girlfriend. That's not what this is about. But bringing it back to the chart here, this is what's really interesting, is it does enter periods of consolidation. And I think this is what's actually very, very compelling for the XRP chart right now, is that if this period of consolidation continues and it gets a little bit longer, perhaps it coincides with some Bitcoin price action, whatever the case may be, you're probably actually going to be seeing some really, really nice entries starting to take shape on XRP again, right? And one of the big things that we've actually seen on XRP going back a little bit is, weekday kind of boring price action followed by big pumps on the weekend, right? Take a look at this right here. This is basically Monday straight through to Thursday, completely flat market here for XRP, nothing happening at all for an entire 3.5-day period. But then Thursday comes along, Friday and Saturday, and we're seeing a big 50% move. I mean, 50% just in a weekend, right? That's absolutely crazy. On this occasion here, this pump again starts on Thursday and it ends on Saturday, right? So and then you're sideways for the rest of the weekend, and on this occasion here we have been pumping through the week a little bit, so that's also very, very cool. But clearly what we are seeing is that XRP's chart patterns have been weekday consolidation, weekend pumps, and I think a big reason that we're seeing that is because weekend price action is always more volatile, always more excited, and if the default situation in the market right now is so bullish, then naturally on the weekend things are going to get even more crazy, right? And the mechanical reason for that, because it's important to understand why this stuff is happening, right? I can tell you what's happening, but that's not what you come to this YouTube channel for. I want you to know why it's happening. I want you to be so good at understanding this market that you are giving your friends the same knowledge that you gained from me, right? That's how it should be, and the only way we're going to get there is if you understand these things on a very, very intimate level. So if that's what you're about, if that's the kind of thing that you like coming here for, if you recognize that that's actually going to be the most direct way that you can make a shitload of money in this market cycle, then smash up those fucking likes, double check that you're subscribed. We got the entire XRP army on our backs, ladies and gents, and this is fucking hilarious. It's brilliant because, and again, hats off to them. A lot of profits being generated by them. Obviously, most of them are going to end up losing most of their money anyway, typically for the same reasons that they invested in such a horrible coin. It's going to lead them to bad decision making later on. But if we do bring it back here, and talk a little bit about why it's so important just to be maintaining these perspectives is, this coin, with these weekend pumps, it's enabled because you see less institutional activity on weekends, right? And when you see less institutional activity on weekends, it's almost like the freaks come out on the weekends, right? It's like, the sun goes down, the fucking crackheads are out now, and they are out looking for quick, juicy gains, right? They're looking for meme coins. They're looking for, and by the way, XRP meme coins, I think, are going to be potentially the next big move. I'm going to be talking about that on this YouTube channel. So if you're excited for that, if you want to know, we've seen WIF, we've seen Pepe, we've seen incredibly strong meme coins off the back of Ethereum and Solana and so on. XRP has meme coins too. And if you want to be able to make money off them, I'm certainly looking at that right now. We're going to be making a video on that probably tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed so you see that tomorrow in your inbox. Make sure you check the notification bell so you can see it. That's all super important because, again, these opportunities, they're just starting to shape up, right? A lot of people are like, shit, I missed the train. XRP is at $2.70. Well, first of all, probably every coin that's, many coins are going to be pumping like this in this market cycle. That's the first thing I want to say. So you certainly haven't missed anything at all, and I wouldn't worry about that in the slightest. However, when a big coin pumps, you got to keep in mind, XRP right now with its market cap is sitting at $155 billion, right? So this is not a small market, right? I mean, I want you to put this in perspective of Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's sitting at 1.8 trillion. So if we divide that by 10, basically a $6,000 Bitcoin is roughly equivalent to XRP right now. And I think that tells us a lot about how big XRP is, right? $6,000 Bitcoin was a really, really big asset. Those of you that were around back then, you're going to remember. I mean, now it sounds really, really small, but it was still really big back then. And it was, most importantly, this is the most important thing that I want you guys to pay attention to, is that when Bitcoin was worth $6,000 and it had an equivalent market cap to XRP right now, it was so big that there was space for the entire rest of the altcoin market as well. And those altcoins did really, really well. There was good liquidity, there were good gains, they were reliable, they were, there were safe picks and stuff. It was good. It was a good investment environment. And that was because Bitcoin itself was worth 155 billion. So now the scale that we're at in this market, and this is the number one point I'm making to you guys on this YouTube channel, just to, you're not bullish enough. You're not ready for how much money you're going to be making in the next couple of years if you get this shit right. This is ultimately my point, and this is why it's so important to stay locked on this YouTube channel. And by the way, those of you that want to get even more exclusives from me, if you recognize the absolute sheer importance of this point in the market right now, we've got an exclusive 12-week program for you where nobody who's ever joined has lost money. Every single person that's joined this package has significantly paid off their investment fee, either by saving money or by making money. Absolutely incredible. It is 1-to-1. It's 12 weeks. It's very intense. It's very expensive. But if you're serious, you can reach out. and get yourself inside using this link right here. Again, the reason that all of this is so important right here in this market, ladies and gents, is because when a big market like XRP can do so well and get to $155 billion, it's now big enough to have smaller markets springing off it. It's the same thing as Ethereum, right? Ethereum got super big and it became so big that other coins could start building entire fucking layers on top of Ethereum, literally, right? And we've seen the same thing with Solana, and XRP is about to have its time to shine. And most importantly, it doesn't even matter if it works or not, right? You're going to see some FUD in the next coming days, weeks, whatever, about how XRP network doesn't work and the ledger is not efficient or whatever. Some of it's true, some of it's not true. XRP is actually very cheap, primarily because nobody uses it. But if we are actually looking at that kind of FUD coming up for XRP, it won't matter, because ultimately these are just going to be speculative buys where nobody is buying these coins, because, including XRP, because it's connected with banks or it's a serious coin or anything. Nobody gives a fuck, right? If XRP had no value attached to it, nobody would ever buy it, right? And so it's purely because people stand to make a lot of money off it. And that's why, when people complain about Ethereum being too slow or Solana just failing sometimes, none of these points even matter as, points to sell a coin, because nobody cares about them when they buy. And so naturally, they're not going to be a reason to sell, right? The only reason people buy is because the coin is going up. And so the only reason they're going to sell is if it stops going up. It's very, very straightforward that way. And when you understand the markets from this perspective, it all becomes just the typical, the reason we're so accurate on this YouTube channel, the reason we get everything right on this YouTube channel, is because we're just talking about basic psychology, basic human psychology. And if you've seen it playing out over and over again, like we have on this team, just myself alone, I've been here for over 7 years. My analyst as well, I think over 7 years as well, maybe even 8 years, I think. He's been here for 8 years, actually. So, just him and I combined, we've got 15 years in this market. You see shit, right? And it becomes really obvious, right? It becomes really obvious to spot it over and over again, because human psychology stays largely quite similar. So I think that's really important to be keeping in mind here. Let's zoom in a little bit more though and talk about this price action, because this XRP chart right now does look like it's poised for another move up. And again, just in terms of resistance, right? I mean, it's got to clear this high at, let's say, like, what is this, $2.88. But if we just go ahead and drop a kind of horizontal line at $2.88 and just kind of look back at what happened back in 2018 at this very same price level, I mean, you can barely even see what was taking place back here. But let's go ahead and just replay the chart to around about over here. By the way, any tech nerds, I'm curious. I've got a cal digit here hooked up to my MacBook, and I'm running 1, 2, 3, 4 displays, including my MacBook, and it's just lagging. Like, I mean, what you see in terms of my cursor, I know we're recording this at like 24 FPS, but it's just lagging, and I'm wondering, like, is it my cables? I mean, a cal digit should be able to handle this, right? My MacBook is a top-end MacBook. There's no problem about performance there. Anyway, just curious if any of you have had similar experiences. But back to the chart here. I mean, look at this. This is such a big deal. This is all of the price history that XRP ever had above the current high that we just set today. And, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing going on back here. If we zoom in onto the hourly time frame, look at this. XRP only managed to stay above this level for a matter of 17 hours. And now, I mean, we're not even fully in it. Bitcoin hasn't even passed 100K. It hasn't even hit 100K, mind you. And XRP is already at that price-based all-time high. Like I said, by market cap, we're already significantly higher than it by now, but by price, we're doing very, very well, and we barely ever traded up there for XRP as well, right? So that's a really strong sign that this chart looks quite, healthy at the moment. And crucially, the best thing that can happen for XRP right now is actually, I think it's going to be a Bitcoin crash, right? If Bitcoin starts dipping a little bit closer to like $70,000, that's probably going to call on XRP to drop. And I don't know how much XRP will drop by, right? It's probably going to drop down to support level, but I don't know where that support level might be. It could be this beautiful support down at $1.40. That's going to be a 50% crash. It could be significantly lower. I don't know. It could be $1. It doesn't really matter where it bottoms out at. The most important thing is how it goes down, right? If XRP just drops down as quickly as it's come up, just like every single time, I mean, this would be a little bit exaggerated, but if we look at it on the daily time frame, if it, because now we're on the daily, right? If it drops down like this, I mean, that's not going to be great. But if we see a more kind of slow, controlled drop down into a support level, I mean, that's going to make me so bullish that I don't know. I will have to eat my hat on a live stream, right? And just just show you that I'm buying XRP live or something, because that would be just the best entry that we can get on XRP. And it would also, I think, really pave the way for XRP to actually get to significantly higher valuations, right? Like you and I are not particularly interested about XRP getting back to its previous all-time high anywhere near as much as we're interested in seeing a $6, $8, $10 XRP, $20. I'm seeing people talking about $1,000 or $1,000 or $30. Obviously, these price targets are ridiculous, right? I mean, just in terms of raw market cap, it's impossible for XRP to get that big. I want to put this in perspective because some of you guys are just so damn unrealistic about this right now. XRP right now is worth $2.73. If it pulls a 10x gain, that's going to be worth $1.5 trillion, which puts it just behind Bitcoin at its current price. But if we look at it in terms of global market cap of assets, a $1.5 trillion asset is the entire valuation of the company of Facebook, right? Let's actually refresh this page, make sure we get the most up-to-date information. $1.5 trillion, that is what Facebook as a company is worth. It's going to be significantly more valuable than Tesla. It's going to be almost as valuable as all of the silver in the world combined, right? That's going to be XRP tokens. So, you might actually think that XRP is headed there in terms of, actually being like the only one super serious crypto coin and connected with all the banks, whatever. And I understand where that sentiment is coming from. I think that's why it's pumping so much. I think it's because it's got those kind of, glimmers of hope about where it could get to. But now I want to talk to the realist in you, which, may or may not exist, but there are a lot of you guys who are subscribed to this YouTube channel. And I just don't really think that XRP can get to that level of valuation. But it's worth noting, I wasn't even super optimistic about $100,000 Bitcoin, right? I mean, I didn't say it's not going to happen, but I never said it is going to happen, right? I always said we'd get to like 140K if we double the previous all-time high, but the point is that I don't really parade myself around big price targets because well, first of all, it takes a really long time to be correct, so it's painful. But second of all, it doesn't really do anything for you, right? Like if you're in the coin, then you're in the coin regardless of how high it goes. It doesn't really matter what your price target is. The market's probably not going to hit it. It's probably either going to go significantly further or it's not even going to meet it, right? But it's not going to stop at your price target. That's for damn sure. And I think that's really, really important. But, when we start putting this thing in perspective, especially with XRP here, I think it starts making a little bit more sense about just, how much more room this coin has to go, but also how it doesn't matter because if you got the entire meme coin market for XRP, then that's just, another 10, 15 coins that you can pull 100x gain off the back of XRP in a very predictable, next move. And I think that is actually what's much more interesting. So that's what's worth really making sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel because I think that's where a lot of money could be made in this market moving forward. But again, keeping it locked to this chart, if we do start to produce a nice pullback, then I think that could definitely, allow XRP to get significantly higher above its previous all-time high and just, move higher in more sustainable ways. I don't actually think that's going to happen. XRP never has sustainable price action. More likely, it's probably, I think at this stage, it's just going to blast through its all-time high, get up to, $4, $5, whatever. It's so hard to say. I mean, every subsequent day that it goes up, it could be, 50% higher, right? It's so hard to say exactly where it could be. And that's why, like I said, that's exactly why I don't give price targets because you're never going to be right about them. You're never going to be... I want to show you something really, really important. I put this up on my Twitter just a couple of days ago, and it was Michael Burry, right? Many of you guys know who Michael Burry is. He is the he's the big guy from the 2008 thing. They made the movie about him, The Big Short. And here it was on the very first month of 2023, at the end of 2023. I'm sorry, at the end of January 2023, Michael Burry just told everybody to sell. Since then, the S&P 500 is up 57%. You can do the math on Bitcoin. It's just absolute. Bitcoin's up like 7-8 times. XRP is the same. Whatever. It's just an incredible gain that we've seen in the market. I think Bitcoin's gain I've overstated there. It's probably closer to a 5x, but just incredible gains that have been seen since Michael Burry told everybody to sell. But before this point, and even at the point when he told everybody to sell, he was incredibly respected. He was a very, very well respected figure in the finance industry, and his word was gospel. His word was straight from Jesus Christ, according to a lot of people at this game, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And so as a result of that, we've seen people just absolutely idolize this guy and showing that he's just the best person ever and we should listen to everything that he says. But he got it wrong, and he didn't get it wrong by a little bit. He got it wrong by a lot, and this proves the point precisely very, very well that if Michael Burry ain't doing it, you certainly aren't going to do it. You're in fucking XRP, for fuck's sake. You're in Bitcoin and XRP, and you trade a little bit on Polymarket and you scroll Twitter for fun, right? You're definitely not on Michael Burry's level. Neither am I. We're the same. You and I, we're in the same boat. And so we're not going to get it right if Michael Burry is getting it wrong and if he's getting it this wrong. And the reason that he's getting it this wrong is because you can have all of the factors telling you that things should be working in a certain way. But if the market is just irrational, then that's the end of the fucking story. There's no more conversation to be had, right? You can either choose to be Michael Burry and just stay very, very strong in your perspective here and then not make money, or you can get with the times. You can understand that there's gains to be had in these markets right here, ladies and gents. Here's Bybit, like I said. with my P&L screenshots. Just absolutely, like I said, these are actually not screenshots. This is a live trading interface, so you can kind of see me playing around with that, right? And again, I mean, over 200,000. By the way, I put $100,000 into this Bitcoin trade, and I've made over 250K off it so far. Just about 250K in profits. My TRX trade, I put about 40K in, and now I'm sitting in $60,000 profit. Again, most of those profits have already been taken off as well. So just absolutely fantastic performance. These trades were made with the links in the description down below. If you're watching this video and you haven't already taken advantage of them, you are missing out on a ton of free cash, because all you have to do is deposit and start trading after you sign up with this link, and then they're going to give you a ton of free cash in your account, up to 30K on Bybit, and Blowfin will even give you a free car, a free Tesla, depending on how much you trade, which is super, super cool. So check them out if you're interested, and again, only if you're not from a restricted region, only if your country's laws allow you to do so. But really, really cool stuff there, and I think a lot of very, very important ideas that we're covering in this market right now. I want to focus your attention over to XRP BTC for a minute before we close this off, because this to me is the biggest shocker of the video. I spoke about this in my most recent XRP video yesterday, and I said that I don't think we're going to break this level particularly quickly, but I was completely wrong about that. We broke it the very next day, right? So big incorrect call from me on that part. No problem whatsoever. It's okay to be wrong as long as you don't lose money. It's very, very okay. It's even okay to lose money because shit happens. But I think what's really interesting about this chart right now is that it's broken so many significant resistance levels against Bitcoin. Granted, it has so much more to go to reach an all-time high against Bitcoin, right? Like, this thing needs to pull off basically a 9x gain from its current Bitcoin price in order to reach its Bitcoin all-time high. And I don't know if that's going to happen, because even if XRP keeps going up, we're probably going to see Bitcoin continuing to go up as well. So if, at best it might gain on Bitcoin, at worst it might just kind of, realistically it might even just kind of hold steady against Bitcoin. I don't know exactly how it's going to go, but it has been a very, very impressive chart, and regardless of how high it does go, I wouldn't anticipate it staying high for particularly long. It's literally never managed to keep a high price level ever in its entire history. It's never been able to do it for anything longer than a couple of days. I don't think this is going to be different. A lot of people think this is going to be different. They always think it's going to be different. I don't think this is going to be different. The other thing that's worth noting is that it is at macro Bitcoin resistance right now, right? So I'm not one to say that, this thing is done kind of rallying up. It's very hard to say because it's XRP, but it is at macro Bitcoin resistance right now. I think a lot of people are very, very rightly starting to sell off and take some profits on their XRP. Regardless of how high it goes, it doesn't mean that it's a bad time to close, 5-10% of a very profitable position. I'm always very happy to take profits on a position, because, as I always say, taking profits never made a man poor. The only thing that taking profits can do is guarantee your riches. So I think that's actually really, really powerful. And I think a lot of people are rightly going to be selling off because we're at this kind of macro Bitcoin resistance right now. But again, I mean, if this thing does manage to fly through this resistance, there is no more resistance against Bitcoin for quite some time here. I mean, it can easily gain, a solid 60% against Bitcoin. That can happen in a day, right? So, whether that happens now or after some sort of correction, I don't know. But it's basically done. Like, I mean, this is about to be like a full lift off against Bitcoin here. So, I think that's really, really impressive. Obviously, this is also the time where it's highest risk and highest rewards. So, very, very interesting time to say the least. And, if this thing does start pulling back, there are very respectable levels to see XRP coming back down to. I also just want to throw Fibonacci on here. Not that I think it's particularly valuable, but let's just go ahead and take a quick look. And yeah, look at that. Actually, we've got phenomenal 618 retracement here at the $1.40 level. This is the same level I mentioned much earlier on in this YouTube video. So I think the fact that we're getting some really strong confluence there, actually, like I said, I don't think that the Fibonacci is particularly useful for XRP, but when it lines up with such an obvious level like this, and I mean, just look at how respected this level has been for XRP, right? I mean, this is literally the only place where XRP was basically having a problem back in 2021. It managed to get a little bit higher than this initially, but then it found, what was this, multiple months of resistance here. This was 3 months of resistance that XRP found at this price level. And so it makes a lot of sense for this to be a potential buy level for XRP, holders who maybe want to accumulate a little bit more, or people who perhaps don't have as much exposure as they do actually want. The bottom line, I think, is that, any XRP health is going to be dependent on wider traditional finance health and specifically Bitcoin dominance. So to start off with wider traditional finance is looking pretty good. S&P 500 is continuing to punch in brand new all-time highs, which is absolutely fantastic. And against the dollar, We're seeing very strong performance here, which is not hurting crypto. So again, I think that's looking absolutely great. From Bitcoin's perspective, it's also looking good, right? It's just kind of consolidating under $100,000. So I definitely wouldn't say that's bearish. I would say that that is bullish. I think some people might argue with me and say that this is not bullish, but I think the fact that we're holding just a sliver below 100K is actually very, very impressive. And so all of those things are looking really well for XRP. The Bitcoin dominance chart is really interesting. We're going to make a dedicated video about this. So if you're already subscribed, you're going to be catching that very soon, because it may have topped out now, and this may be the very beginning of the alt season where all of the biggest life-changing games happen. I don't think it's the case. I think we're actually seeing probably something a little bit more like this. We did this last time. We rallied all the way up. We went slightly above the resistance level, and then we came back down for support several times, and then we rallied even higher. And I basically think that we're going to do the same thing again right now. I don't have any reason to say this. I'll be completely honest with you. It's literally just a feeling. But, you know, I mean, I'm a trader, so sometimes all I have available to me are just a feeling. And, you know, it's not good practice to rely on your feelings at the beginning of your trading journey. But, you know, I think a lot of people who've been around for as long as I have, you know, 7+ years, they are going to start feeling confident, you know, enough to rely on their feelings. And that's certainly how I felt for a while. So, I mean, that's how I've made some of the big trades I've just shown you. And that's how I made both of them, actually. It was based off the same kind of feeling that I'm telling you about right now. You know, and I just think, you know, from a technical perspective, I just think it's so early in this bull market. I mean, for Bitcoin's dominance to start coming down, it must also mean that that the Bitcoin bull market is, you know, in its second half. And I don't think it's in its second half. I don't even think it's really finished its first quarter of being in a bull market. I mean, Trump isn't even president yet, for God's sakes, and we got 4 years of that. So hopefully nothing goes wrong over there. But you know, if it does kind of go through, then I think we've got great policy coming from the West for the next couple of years. Obviously, Asia's all over Bitcoin already, and Asia's just stolen everything, you know, related to the crypto industry. There ain't nothing left in America now. It's all gone to fucking Singapore. It's all in the UAE. Those of you that want to set up in Dubai, let me know. I can get you set up very, very easily and quickly. You know, it's all in the UAE. America's got nothing. So, you know, I mean, if things are going to start, if the tides are going to start to shift, then I think it's absolutely very, very possible that this becomes a much more drawn out bull market if you get, you know, the support of the West for crypto. And then, you know, much more importantly than that, if you're going to get a more stretched out bull market, then I certainly don't think that Bitcoin is anywhere close to topping out. And so I must expect Bitcoin to continue to gain dominance in this market. So, you know, I think what we're seeing right now is probably, you know, more of a temporary thing. It might last some time. I mean, for God's sakes, we've been rallying up basically non-stop for 700 days. So, you know, I don't even mind if this takes 6 months, right? I mean, it can easily take 6 months, and I'll still be 100% correct about what I'm saying. You know, and so that's what I'm looking at right now. But I think that if we do lose this level at 53.6, then that's probably going to be Bitcoin's dominance, you know, sentence to come back down to 40. You know, and if that kind of thing ends up happening, then I mean, the gains on XRP are just going to be astronomical. I mean, you haven't had a girlfriend for 7 years because you've been holding XRP, but you're going to be having 7 girlfriends after this. So it's going to be absolutely insane. You know, if Bitcoin's dominance does drop down that low. So we'll see what happens. It's a very, very fun market. Obviously, it's very fun to be, you know, playing with the XRP army a little bit as well. Their comprehension levels are ridiculously low. Just go and read the comments and look at what I'm saying and look at what they're angry about. And it's like they're watching a different video. It's absolutely ridiculous how stupid they are. You know, but you are doing very, very well if you're getting what you want out of the market. And if what you want out of the market is money, then good job to you. I think the only big thing that's really, really important to keep in mind at this point, when you start getting very cocky, when you start getting very arrogant, because trust me, I've been there with very, very big gains as well. The number one thing you got to be keeping in mind in this market, ladies and gents, is just very, very simple, very, very straightforward, that this coin has a history of catastrophic failures after it tops out. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again, but if it does happen again, it would be very, very, very smart to consider exiting before that dip becomes more of a total market collapse. With that, ladies and gents, really hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, you know exactly what to do, and I'll see you all in the next one.